Hey folks, this is Sam Roberts.
Hey, this is Kim Mitchell.
This is Hannah Georges.
This is Matt Mee.
This is Derry Graham from Honeymoon Suite, and you are listening to...
And you're listening to
The
Hulk Caesar Show.
Welcome to the Hulk Caesar Show. I am your host, Hulk Caesar, and with me, as always, is my illustrious co-host, Newfoundland's songbird, Emily Malloy. Emily, it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
We are, of course, joined by our new co-host, Dicky Strickland. Dicky, what's happening?
This is it.
We have a truly delicious show this evening. Before we get to our main course, I wanted to mention what we have coming up at the end of the program. A few days ago, Dicky and Emily chatted with ex-Barenaked Ladies Stephen Page and Sloan's Chris Murphy, who make up half of the Trans-Canada Highwaymen. Their band will be touring through Newfoundland and Labrador over the next week, finishing up in St. John's at the ACC on Saturday, February 15th, and we'll all be there. Pretty exciting. You can check out their interview at the end of the show, or you can find it on our Facebook or YouTube page. There'll be a benefit show for Allison Corbett at the Ship-In, 9 p.m. on this Friday, February the 7th, to help Allison in her upcoming battle against breast cancer. And if you're in the city, try to get down to show your support, or you can help out by donating to the GoFundMe, which you can see here as well, set up on her behalf. Well, the guest here with us is a man who really needs no introduction. He's an author, an actor, a first-round NHL draft pick, and a Newfoundland senior hockey legend. Known in his early life for his amazing hockey skills, he has since shown his range with books, Tales of a First-Round Nothing, and Fights, Film, and Folklore. In his role as Hitch in the hit Crave TV show Shoresy, he's Mount Pearl's favorite son, Terry Ryan. Welcome to the Hulk Caesar Show.
Thanks for having me. It's really interesting and intriguing to be here.
A little later on, show favorite Jordan Young will join us to perform two, no doubt, fantastic songs for us live in our Hot for the Moment studios high above Posey Row in downtown St. John's, Newfoundland. So let's get right to it.
Terry, welcome. Legend. That's pretty cool. How do you get the legend status?
Well, I don't know. I'll ask you guys.
Is it like a blue check mark on Instagram?
I guess it's having. Yeah.
You pay $19.99 a month for that.
We get
There's a lot of ups and downs with that. Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. I didn't feel like a legend when we were doing locations out in the Sunshine Camp at 3 a.m. in minus 27 weather. Didn't quite cold coffee. It didn't really feel.
Yeah,
that's what legends do. You know,
that's how legends are made.
Yeah,
that was just a few years ago.
We're past that now. So your dad, senior, as he goes by, was a professional hockey player. He spent a year in the WHA. Is that right? So what was it like growing up in that household, in that hockey household, a child of that kind of... what was it like to have to live up to that? Did you feel any kind of pressure having to live up to that sort of status?
It's a great question, Dicky. I suppose I didn't realize it at the time, and really it was never pushed on me, ever. My dad, even when I got scouted and I went away, he came with me and he said, we can get off the plane right now. I'm just telling you that you've got an opportunity that I've never seen a lot of kids in this province have for a long time, and I'm telling you that wherever you go, you're going to be an elite player, whether that's Toronto or BC or wherever. So, in other words, you might have a future. So to go back to it, like growing up, my dad was the second oldest of 6. His father was a waiter. His mom didn't work. They were poor for all intents and purposes. But his dad was a great guy. You talk about legend. He was a waiter. He wore tux every day. I don't know if you've been to Grand Falls.
A family out there, yeah.
Yeah, okay, there you go. So in Mount Peyton, there was Clem's dining room. I think they might have changed it now, but they have a little picture of him. Clem's my grandfather. Oh, so he was literally, there you go, there's a legend. But they just didn't have a lot of money. Not that Dad said growing up he didn't really want for anything, but he just got to learn to live without a TV, and he would use secondhand hockey gear, and so be it. So there was a guy, Abitibi Price, was the mill in Grand Falls, and they obviously had a lot of money. They wanted to make everybody happy, and happy community, happy workers, and all that. So they brought in Joe Byrne to run minor hockey, and now it's the Joe Byrne Memorial Arena for a reason.
That's right, yeah.
Ooh.
So Joe, and there was really nobody. Alec Faulkner and God rest his soul, George Faulkner just passed away a few days ago. They were the first couple of pro guys. George was the first pro. Alec was the first NHLer, and my dad really looked up to them. But really, that happened because teams came here and noticed them. There was no one noticing the Bantam Grand Falls Cataracts at the time. But Joe came to do it, and he noticed 5 guys off my dad's team and made some calls and said, these guys don't even realize how good they are. And the next year, 5 of them were playing on the mainland. My dad went to Hamilton. Now, so he played a couple of years in the OHL, now OHA then, and hence he got drafted 44th overall to the Minnesota North Stars in the NHL, 41st overall to the WHA Fighting Saints. At the time, the WHA was a rival league of the NHL. So it was real good. I mean, it wasn't a terrible decision in his mind from a hockey perspective. The NHL was better. But remember, that's where the Oilers started. Eight WHA teams ended up getting absorbed by the NHL. The rest went to, they were all great cities like Houston and Long Beach and, places all over the United States, great destinations. But that wasn't, my dad's goal wasn't the NHL or destinations, man. He just wanted to get a degree. That was it.
Really?
So that was he went to the WHA, played that 1 year, but he led the league in shorthanded goals. As a rookie that didn't play much, he had 13. Like nice. He really had but they paid for his schooling and he finished his degree. He took 6 courses straight through. And then
what was the degree in?
He became a teacher. At first, he got a BA in history. Then he became a teacher, and then he got a master's. And it was always important. That's why growing up, I was as much into reading and the journalistic side of hockey. I guess I knew all the reporters, like who they were. He would make me read or write every night, right? And I don't talk about it much, but I would. Frequently win those speech competitions. What you know what I mean?
Public speaking.
Public speaking, Jesus. So those kind of things, I was as much into that. So
it shows.
Well, it might with you, and now in the film, and I don't think it did back then. It was a bit of a secret. And I don't know why I bottle it up. I'm an only child. I guess I don't know
secrets.
I suppose. Yeah, and really, at that time, if I'd start rhyming off my poetry, I might have got a punch in the face or something. I don't really know, but the point is, I guess he was always more into that side of it. Even when I went away, he's like, "I'll never let you go to a team that doesn't have a university." Being junior, like Tri-Cities, I went to University of Washington, Tri-City campus. So. That was the most important thing. So he said, when I left, that was what his goal. When he left, that's what his goal was. And he came back and started teaching. He a couple of stints, like Detroit Red Wings called. He went and had 105 points in the minors. In relative terms, if you don't know hockey, it's real good. I think he was 4th in scoring, and the other 4 went straight to the NHL in the top 5. And he just said, you know what, that's enough. So I mean, he gave it up at 24, and he was, there's. Odds are he probably would have played a lot longer, but definitely in the NHL. But again, it wasn't his goal. And back then, he said, he goes, my first year teaching, I made more than I did. There was no one making that money. Yeah. It started to be a thing, but the average salary was $40,000 or something.
Right. Yeah.
NHL.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's it. That's the evolution of hockey. So for me growing up, I know, to go back to your question, man. My dad came back, and then, he was always active, though. He coached. He played senior hockey a few years when I was an infant, and, 3, 4. And then when I was 7 or 8, he started coaching the Mount Pearl Junior Blades and then the Senior Blades after that. So from the time I was 8 till I left at 14, he was coaching those teams. Now, 8, I'm not even, I can barely skate, man. And when I was 9, my first year at him, I didn't make the A or the B team. And then they changed the ages kind of thing. So at 10, I became a first-year Adam again. But now what happened was Dad was coaching those teams. Mom ran the scheduling for minor hockey. And we had a real good team, too. We never lost. I can count on one hand the games I lost playing minor hockey. And the reason, one of the big reasons, was because she would schedule, say, the junior team to have the last hour of the day, whenever that was, Sunday night, whatever, 9 to 10, right? So then 10 o'clock, there would be nobody on. And back then, it's funny. Guy the rink attendant who was there most, his name was Tony Fonsfaulo. And I'm living in his house now. He had a stroke a few years ago. Wow. I'm honestly doing him as Ted Hitchcock, because we used to razz him so much that we would imitate him. Oh my God. And I knew I could do this. I'm just speeding up his if you'll notice, because one of my first lines in Shoresy, I forget, it was on Letterkenny. It said like center heist on the paper. And I said, Jared, I know you watch Coldwater Cowboys, but I go, like, if you want me to say heist, I got to really change everything. That's kind of outside the overpass. And you know, I tried to explain that. So I said, but I can do this if he wants me to, right? Because Fonz would talk a lot slower. If you look at my one scene on Letterkenny, it's like, where you at, boys, right? Fonz would be like, look at Ryan, too big for his britches now, is he, right? It was really slow, and so I just like speed that up because I can do it without really thinking. And it's funny, Fonz, so I you know, he had a stroke, he's in a home. I hope he knows how much I love him and that I'm living in his house. Like I bought it.
Amazing.
Fluke.
So cool.
It was just a place in Mount Pearl up from my parents. His brother's my godfather. Again, it was
Everything
all
comes
fluke.
full circle.
Yeah. But that's it. So Fonz used to he used to say to us, man, there's no smoking darts. There's no, you guys leave this the way it was when you got here. No around, no fights on the ice or anything. But if you want to do that, then you guys go out there, and we would like skate for, you know, sometimes 4 hours. We'd get home at like 2 a.m. No one cared. Like we just walk home. And so like, I don't know, with like at least an extra 5 hours and sometimes 20 of ice time a week, you know, you're going to get a lot better.
Yeah.
My last year, Pee Wee, before I left, you know, we won the provincials 16-0, Mount Pearl. And that's a huge part of it, is that we were on the ice way more than everybody else. Not a little bit, way more. On top of that, I went to St. Bon's. So before it was a private, because we just, you know, if we had a class off or at lunch, we just put on our skates and go over. So I was probably on the ice every single day.
That's amazing.
I remember that part in your book, and you mentioned it earlier, where your dad, it says it's okay if you want to turn around, you don't have to do this. And I thought that was really beautiful. It was an interesting contrast to what you usually hear about, you know, sports families, you know, that kind of relationship, and the parents are really like pushy and stuff. So I thought that was really beautiful. I thought that was really cool.
Well, a lot of people, I think, assume it was the other way around. It wasn't. It would have been with school. If I had like pipped off or something, or like really, if I'd gotten like, if I got a 50 in something, he'd sit, not mad, but he'd sit me down and go, okay, like, if you don't get this now, if you don't get algebra, you're not going to be able to do calculus. Like you can't, if you don't understand Shakespeare and everything, like you're definitely not going to be able to take the next level. And it was a concern. It was always like, I don't know if he was so, he went through so much trying to get that degree, and you know, he's the first in his family. I mean, his dad's got like 10 brothers and sisters. He's got, I mean, there's people, it just wasn't, they're from St. Joseph's, right? Fishermen from out there, his family on the Ryan side. So nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying it's not, like, you know, it's just not part of his culture or if you further you go back, they're fishermen, great people and everything, but you know, he was the first, and which is great that then 4 of his brothers and sisters ended up getting their degrees. But that was it with me. With hockey, he was always like, you know, this is a talent you got, but it's going to end at some point here. And
Right.
It was never, it was supportive. He
went through it. He knew.
He went through and knew. And he never filled my head with shit either. When I was here, he wouldn't go to a game unless I asked him, because it did start to get, you know, and we were good. And everybody knew I was his son. I did start hearing it, but I didn't. Honestly, I don't know if it's the only child in me or early on. I know it helped me as an athlete in pro, but like my attitude would be, fuck everybody, I'm going to show them. It wasn't the other way around. I didn't feel the pressure. I was aware, but I used that to get me going, you know?
Right.
All right, well, let's take a quick break. Len O'Neill joined us last month, where he performed a few fun tracks for us, including this one. It's Palm on the Lens on the Hulk Caesar Show.
Back when the NHL had a labor lockout, we played Texas Hold'em round the table at your house. We'd buy a half case from the store across the street from you. Your mother didn't mind, she just played with us. Your stepdad sometimes would pass out on the floor. He was great, he just drank a few too many beers. There was no Stanley Cup that year. We'd skate the Grace Hospital with snow still on the ground. Your brother found a job at the movie theater, saving up to make our mini DV feature film. He filming lines in the yellow city light. Palm on the lens when you finally get it right. I collapsed in the lobby at the premiere. Didn't think there'd be 300 people there. Afraid of failing, afraid I just might win. You stepped in and took care of everything. And now the parking lots are too rough to ride on. Mini DV tapes are only available on Amazon. The other day I drove on by the Grace Hospital and a dozer was pushing it down. It's looking like a whole other town now. Your brother had a job at the movie theater, saving up to make our mini DV feature film. He started working when he was just 15. We'd head out late in the morning, making makeshift high-A recordings. Hit the parking lots at night, filming lines in the yellow city light. Head out again the next morning, make more makeshift recordings. Hit the parking lot at night, filming lines in the yellow city light. Palm on the lens when you finally get it right. Palm on the lens when you finally get it right. Palm on the lens when you finally make it right.
Terry, season 4 of Shoresy premiered several weeks ago. How did you end up as the co-star of a hit TV series?
Well, where to start, man? Well, I had a very unique intro into all that. A lot of people, especially hockey players I played with, they might call and go, "Hey, can you get me on the show?" And you know, I want to be an actor too. Where do I go? I'm like, guys, you have no idea. Like, you know, and Dicky can speak for it, man. I don't mind working locations. It just means it's a tough job on set. And, you know, I don't know how many years, a half dozen, you know, of doing that or ADing or whatever. And, you know, so there's that. I mean, I went to school in 2009 and got a folklore, I got a BA folklore with an English kicker. And that's not going to get you much. I don't know. I went on. I was going to do education, but you know, Hawko had a TV show called El Naco called Republic of Doyle, and you know, paid well. And I got in there, and I was Penny Lane. My daughter's now 14. She was just born. I was raising my buddy's kid. BJ died in a car accident. BJ Young. I was raising Tyson. Married to his mom. Danielle, we're not now, but we're on great terms. So I just had to make a move and do something. So I saw the film industry as being, you know, crew and being set. And to be honest with you, in between that, the show ended. You know, there's so many things going on. I think it was Maudie, whatever it was. I got into the set. It was Frontier was starting, and I was trying to get enough hours to get into the set dress union because it pays a little bit better. You're part of IATSE.
Yeah.
You're more protected than you are in the other one, what's it called, DLG? DGC. And you could also go back and forth to Toronto when you needed to work. I could get a permit up there to be a set dresser. It was a little bit more organized and protected. So I was pumped that I got in to be a set dresser. But on the first season of Frontier, I know that the honest truth, the last day of Maudie, or the days we were out in Keels, out in Trinity, and I was locations with Noel Harris, and I had to be like first up in the morning. So there's only 8 or 9, 15 houses in that little community. So there's most of the crew were staying in Clarenville or Bonavista, but I had to stay there because I had to be up. And of course, Ethan Hawke's there. So Ethan, because he was in the movie, obviously, so he came over, and the first day we were shooting, I tossed him my book, Tales of a First Round Nothing, which had just come out. I tossed it into the green room. And funny, like way back in the day, he used to go to games in Montreal with Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland went to every Habs game he could if he was in town. So, and again, I did meet him, but I know he didn't remember that he was humoring me. But he did understand when I said, "Hey, man, I used to hang out at Bonanotte," and he knew there was some level of authenticity to it. So he came over and just started talking. He goes, "Hey, man," I go, "Geez, it was the end of a day on set, about late October. One of those days, like 20 degrees, late October. It was a nice night, but I was bagged, man. I sat down. And I had a bottle of Jack, and I had in my left hand and a joint in the other, and I just had a sip, lit the joint, and that's not the way I conduct every night. Whatever it was just a long day, and he just came walking up, and we got talking. He said, "I loved your book," and I went, "What the? How did you? 3 weeks later, you read my book?" And he said, "Well," he made a joke of it. He said, "Well, you can't get any Wi-Fi here," and he's like, "I can't use my phone." And he said, "But, you should go in and you should try to go for an audition for something." And I said, "What? Like as an actor?" And I really thought he was out to lunch. And he said, "No," but he said, "I read the book and it's a tale of somebody." He said, well, obviously it's my book, Tales of, but he said it's a story of a, kid growing up from going from a child to a man and all that you experience. He goes, the NHL is just a route that, that was part of your journey, but your journey's still going. He said, all those emotions, first round pick. I fucked up my career, by the way, without getting all the way into it. I made some mistakes in my hockey career. First round pick, man, it was hard to take, but a lot of emotions went with that. Even the emotion it takes to like get in a fight on the ice and pick up for your buddies. And he just told me, he said, you can channel those things and it's not as hard as you think. And I just watched him cry. The movie's Marty. Watch it. Like, I was like, what? It's not as hard as I think? I could never do that. But he was like, most of the time you won't have to. And so I said, oh, sure. Like, and I don't know how it happened. I took him down to the Bull and Barrel.
Nice.
That's honestly, one night we went out. It's not my best friend or anything, but he wanted to go out for beers. And it was Gary Sexton was his driver. And I jumped in with him on the way back, and we had a great conversation. We went down to the Bull, and it was maybe my third or fourth pint, man. And I was drinking. I remember to the day because we were both drinking spice rum and Diet Coke for some reason. I remember it. The details. Maybe it was his drink, and we sat down, and then it was like maybe 4 hours later. We got a great buzz on. Tino or one of them was playing, and then I texted Hawko or Rob Blackie or one of them would Take the Shot Productions, and Frontier was just starting. I don't know who did it, but I got a chance to audition, okay? And the auditions were at, what's that school we used to use over there?
St. Bon's?
McPherson?
McPherson, yes.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's right.
That was, okay.
Yep.
So we went over there, and the audition was for a British cook, which Paul... forget his name, of course, Paul Wilson, he ended up getting, but he was reading my lines with me. It was good practice. I kind of knew I wasn't getting it, but I said, if I don't get up and do this right now, and now all my auditions are like on camera, I was really worked up. And I remember like waiting outside, and the people were like, what are you doing here, TR? Like, and I'm like, I'm going in for an audition. And I went in. And honestly, guys, I absolutely sucked, okay? And I went over.
You nailed it.
And I got the part.
No. I went over and I went to grab my coffee like this. I usually do have a tooth. I just left it in the car this morning. And I took out my tooth, okay? And I'm thinking, Danielle Irvine was in there. She was the casting director. And then there was Paul. He was reading my lines. Now I'm thinking the camera is just recording and they're going to watch it later. I don't really think about it being like that they're watching it live, wherever they are. I say Hollywood. They could have been in Nova Scotia. I don't know where they were. Right. But his team was like the Pride of Gypsies or whatever they called it. And
yeah.
So they were analyzing this too. I didn't know Jason Momoa was going to be part of it. I didn't know anything like that. I knew this is the new show that's coming, right? And people were talking about The Rock. I'm going, yeah, right. Like I really didn't think anything of that. So I was just there doing my thing, and then Danielle just said, "Wait." She asked me. She goes, "They're asking me if you're the Hawko's friend with no tooth, the hockey player."
Hawko's friend with no
And I was like,
Could you narrow it down?
yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And then she grinned. Whatever happened, we had a chuckle about my sucking in the scene, but I wasn't halfway home, and she phoned and she goes, "I think I got something for you." And it was, so the very, very first scene in Frontier is just a British soldier begging for his life, "Please have mercy." And they didn't, as far as I know, look, I can't put words in their mouth, but why waste a good actor for those 3 words, right? And I had the fog prevented some stuntman to get in on Doyle a couple of times, actually. So I was on camera. Like, they were terrible stunts. I went down to one knee or whatever. But I actually did have, 2 days in technically acting roles. I don't think I said anything, but stunts counted for that or counted for. So, and they made a joke of it. They're like, if you actually speak, you can get into the union or whatever. And it's 3 words. But then, and then I hadn't met Momoa yet, but he had read my book somehow, and he'd never learned to skate. He could play roller. So it was like kind of, when he got here, whatever, I was doing sets, but I remember like knowing that you got to teach Momoa to skate. I don't know if Rob Blackie or one of them asked me, because we ended up getting the ice every Sunday, and I did teach him to skate. That's how we became friends.
Amazing.
But what so I went out there, man. I'm in set deck, but a big reason, and I sorry to veer from your question, but what happened was I was in set deck and I was going to get my tooth taken care of. And then part of the reason I got that role was because, you can do it, but it's not easy to with hair and makeup
to
take a tooth out.
Yeah.
You can add one in, but and you can do it, but I just think that it was a natural
Fits, right?
fit. And he got a kick out of it because he gets to slit my throat. I played hockey, and he's a big fan of the hockey fights, and I was teaching him. But he was like, after we did that, and he said, and Jason paid for me to get in the union. I think it was like $1,500 or something.
Nice.
And as I got to teach him to skate and everything, and we became friends, he said, I wouldn't fix your tooth. He said, acting's more about a look, at least what you're going to be doing, and I can't agree more. It's not like really. It
is for Jason, I think.
I love. Well, yeah, he was right. But,
sorry, Jason.
yeah, that's a great observation. But he put me. He was doing a thing, Brave in here, and he put me in that, and then he took me to Europe when we did season 3 of Frontier, and he was having he had a few other little things going on, and he made sure to get me in there so I'd get my resume built up a little bit. I did some stunts in it was a local thing in Scotland, but we were there, and these guys were like the stuntmen from the Lord of the Rings. Kim Farty was one of them, Craig Hennison, who's Spider-Man's stunt double still. Got people I was meeting like that. The amazing Alex Arthur, a boxer, middleweight champ of the world. I was like training with these people. So by the time then after that 3 months was over with Momoa and I got back, I did know a little bit about stunts, at least the fighting part of it.
Yeah.
It's all kinds of stunts, but where the camera goes when you're fighting, and how to roll off a punch and all that stuff. And so then I came back and got some more things with local stunts around here, but I was still more crew than anything. But what happened was one day I was on a hockey podcast called Spit and Chicklets.
Are we going to do the Shoresy part now?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
You asked me how I got into Shoresy. And I told you, man, I ramble on.
I love it.
But that is really how it started, because I was telling this story that I just told you on Spit and Chicklets. Jarrett Kiso, who is Shoresy, and Shoresy wasn't a thing then. It was season 8 of Letterkenny.
Mm-hmm.
That's his show, right? Letterkenny is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he, I find out now that he must have got casting to do it. Nothing, but Jarrett. It was Jarrett's idea, but they phoned and they were like, can you? Because he had been listening to Chicklets, and do you still have the tooth missing? I said, yeah, and they're like, can you go in and do an audition right now? Because I don't know if they had someone else that bailed, but like I did it, and then like 3 days later I was in Sudbury shooting the scene.
Wow.
And I just did it, like literally they said right away. So I was on my way home from work that day, again as a set dresser, and I stopped in to Twin Rinks. I called somebody, Zach O'Brien, who ended up full circle. He's the guy, one of the main reasons I played for the Growlers. He was one one of their captains and my good friend. So I called him and I said, like, can you guys help me out? Where are you guys coaching right now? I said, like, when the Zamboni goes off, I just need like 5 minutes in front of the bench. And and we did that scene, and I ended up doing it on Letterkenny. And on the way out, it was wrap party day. And on the way out, Jared, he said, I'm not going to be at the party, but I just have a lot to do, but we're going to work together in the future, hopefully. I thought he meant on another episode of Letterkenny, but it ended up being Shoresy. And, I know I've gone on, but the funny thing is, guys, when I read my audition, and then it took a long, like, I didn't have an agent or anything at the time, so I don't even really remember getting all 6 episodes. I just went up a little bit early, because we had to go over like the hockey stuff and everything, and he wanted everybody to meet. So we were there 2 weeks early, and he presented us then with the full script, and I still didn't read all the way through it. So the first day, I'm like in I think it was the writer's room, of which Jared does it himself, but it was like it was a room. It was almost like we ended up shooting there, but they were doing promos and things here, and all the things that would go with promoting Shoresy, but like from podcasts, like there was cameras set up. There was clearly a rhyme and a reason. And I'm like, why am I here? And why are you greasing me down? And why am I like with the main characters? And they're like, you are one of the main characters, right? I swear to you, again, had I had an agent. But I knew I was in it. I knew I would be in it and featured here and there, but I didn't know. I didn't have any idea that would be, Ted Hitchcock, one of the 4 guys who I guess stirs the drink in shore, 7 or 8, but you know what I mean? Yeah. One of the main consistent characters. No, I did not realize that till I got there.
That's so amazing.
Hilarious.
That's so cool.
These are amazing stories. Yeah. We're going to get another story from Terry when we come back. Here we have a younger version of our friend Dicky and his friends, local legends. I decide who legends are. That's who decides the legends. Local legends, the long distance runners, with their video for "You Gotta Remind Me" on the Hulk Caesar Show.
Come, may go, that's for sure.
Terry, so you came in hot during your brief stint with the Montreal Canadiens when you first started. You were fighting notorious enforcers, Ty Domi. I can't remember the names of any other ones, but
he was like one of the biggest. If not,
he was a brute.
more recently, you fought at your Growlers game. You fought Zach Walker.
Zach Walker, yeah.
Is there anybody that you wished had kicked your ass in any other games? Any other players?
Honestly, that's also a great question.
Thank you.
My favorite, when it came to tough guys growing up, I mean, I guess I was a Habs fan. Chris Niall, I'm buddies with him now, so it's weird when you become friends with these people. I hate to say I idolize him less, but he's more human to me. But there was a guy, Bob Probert. He's got a great story.
Oh yeah.
It's a good book, good movie, and everything. It was
The Red Wings, right?
Yeah, and he unfortunately passed about 10 years ago now, maybe. But he was a great dude. I nearly did. If you look, there's a fight. My last NHL shift, I fight a guy named Cam Russell in Chicago, and there's a YouTube clip of it. And right before Probert nearly grabs me, but I never really. So I guess it would be more of an honor than anything. But I never, when I left home, like I never thought about fighting. I ended up. I played in the Western League, which is a tough league, but I was more on the defender side. If you screw with my teammate or something, I'm an only child. Like I said, I grew up and I had that like attitude. I won my first fight. When I went to Quesnel, BC, I was 14 years old. I was the youngest junior player in Canada. I'd never thrown a hit before, man. A guy beat me up the first game. So my answer, I wanted to come home to O'Donnell, man, and play. I skipped a grade, so I was still only in grade 9.
Wow.
But I'd played like an exhibition game with O'Donnell before the year started or something. I remember I had like 6 goals, and I was like, man, that's never been done by a grade 9. I was going like in my head, I was thinking in O'Donnell terms, and here I am out playing like junior in BC, and I didn't get it, man. I'm like, oh, you guys sell out every game. That's wild. And Mike Spence is like, Chris Spencer, it's sold out because you're playing in it. Do you understand what's happening here in the TSN cameras? So just giving you an example of the way I approached it all. Every time I was on the ice, man, my first thing was to put the puck in the net or give it to the best player on the ice so he can put it in the net. And this
is traditionally the goal of hockey, right?
It is, but at the time, anybody who fought,
I don't watch that.
You would think that is the goal.
That's very true, and I can understand saying that. People are at home going, "What the fuck? What else is there?" Well, a lot of people get into fighting. They probably know that they're going to be at least a big body checker, or they're going to thrive on the physicality. That was never part of it. If I didn't leave for that reason, I didn't get scouted at all. That just happened. Like again, I think only child, and there's something in me, because like I said, after that first game getting beat up, my answer, I remember like really wanting to come home, but I looked in the mirror, and I've done this a few times in my life when I need to sack up, man. I'm serious. And I just look right in my eyes, because I find it hard to lie right to myself. I'm like, you're going to give this 1 month, and you're going to do it, and you're going to do it. And every game that you play, you're going to do the best you can possibly do. And if after that it doesn't work, fine. And that meant a lot of sleepless nights. It was anxiety. I was also going to a new high school. Like I was in grade 10, but I'd skipped a grade again. So I'm grade 9 age. I'm in grade 10. I got zits all over my face. You might think
skipped a grade?
Well, I was only grade kindergarten in St. Bon's.
They line you up. You match the colors. All right.
My dad was
sandbox.
My dad was playing senior hockey in Stephenville when I was 4. So I just was out there, and I just sat in on all the kindergarten classes. When I came in here, they're like, back then you could just do that.
Yeah, they do whatever.
Yeah,
Isn't that
really.
amazing?
That's what happened. And and I had zits all over my face, man. And I really did talk like this, right? Ted Hitchcock's not really much of a stretch. So I really, really stood out, and not in a good way. So I had a lot of nerves. Back here, I was in Pee Wee again. Like my experience, I don't remember. I remember having, one time I learned how to undo a bra. It was a girl and I couldn't do it. And like halfway through making out, she like stopped me and showed me how to do it and everything. I was so awkward. It was so
what a
like
good chick though. That's nice.
when I was, yes, I'd say her name. I think she'd be okay with it, but I don't know, so I won't say her name. But
Maybe somebody could show me that after the show.
So there was that. There was fitting in. There was everything, man. There was growing up. So what I did, man, we played the same team, Williams Lake, the next Friday. And I solved the problem. I said, I got to fit in at school, and I got to have these guys respect me. And I don't want anybody to push me around.
Yeah.
Right? I needed room out there too. If you people give you more room, man, if you bring the stick up or you fight them, even if they know there's a lot of tough guys too. You know what? And I was that guy. You might beat me, but I'm going to get a shot in, man. And you know it. And I'm going to keep coming back. And it's not going to be worth your. And eventually you get a little bit more room. And when you're a hockey player, that 1 second in front of the net means I can get there faster than you if you're a wuss. And I'll tip it. And Pronger might hit me. But I'm going to, and that's the difference. That's stats, man. Yeah. So, and that was an element that I had to get used to if I wanted to. I just couldn't be the best out there anymore. I was playing against all these and I wasn't used to it. And there was a lot going on. So we went out for a pregame meal the next Friday, and on the way back, my first pregame meal with the team, man, it's happened a million times since. But I just grabbed the hot sauce off the table. I put it in my pocket, and this is a funny story.
Oh, I love this story.
I was waiting. I was hoping you were going to tell the story.
That this was very, very real, and I thought about it. It was a nice day like this, winter, Cornell, whatever. I guess it's October, and. I had time to sit on it and think about it. And I went to the rink and said, I'm going to do this. And then the guys in the room were great. They knew that, this guy beat up a 14-year-old. And they said, but again, I was on the ice. I didn't look at it like that at all. Stop that. Beat up a 14-year-old. You're going to have to do a lot of that this year. But I want to solve this myself. Yeah, sure. But Spence said, I'll take care of it in the third period because you still got kicked out of the game. So a lot of people would wait till there's 10 minutes left to do all that.
Makes sense.
So it was chaos. It was like the last part of a game back then used to take so long. But it was so I knew no one would expect it. So I just when we went on the ice between the first and second, I just said, "Oh boys, I forgot whatever," and I went back and I took the hot sauce, put it in the sink, and I bathed my hands in it. And I went over to this guy, and he said, I'm not fighting a 14-year-old. I said, it didn't stop you last time. And I just kind of drug him into the fight. I think he was a bit embarrassed about what happened. I don't know if he knew I was 14. And I kind of just got in on him, and then I rubbed it in his eyes, and he started... now all of a sudden, I don't care how tough you are. And I proceeded to kick the shit out of him. The place went mad. And I went off like this. I'm like, whoa, wow, what is this new element of hockey? And I lost my virginity after the game, if you can believe it. Yeah. So I went
Best part of the story.
So at school, I was
Let's
the
go to a
king.
clip.
I went from being so awkward to hey, man, look at this new thing. He's a Greek. He can fight. He can groove. I was going to, and I'm into music. So then all of a sudden, I just needed one little in, and then I was the DJ in school, for all the classes. They would let us play music and a lot. It was really laid back. I remember really realizing that. And I went to St. Bon's, and then 8 and 9, I went into Mary Queen of the World. So we went out there, man, and people were wearing jeans, chewing gum in class, hats on, spitting tobacco. I'm like, where the is this?
Yeah, it was the same when I moved to Mount Pearl.
Crazy. Wow. Yeah, maybe at the time. St. Bon's again wasn't. I'm dating myself, but it wasn't private school, but we still had to wear a uniform. It felt like a private school. It was all boys. We had to go to church every day. It was everything. Yeah, but that'll also. I don't want to get into that whole side.
It's all good.
But, that'll educate you one way or the other.
It does.
Right?
It does.
It'll educate you one way or the other. Whether you're into it or you're not, you know the reasons why after you go to, Catholic school for that long.
That's amazing. Tonight's musical guest is a producer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and session musician who's performed with over 30 groups, including the Beach Boys, alongside the Hulk Caesar Show's own Dicky. As Grey J, his latest album, Home Salt, features intricate fingerstyle guitar compositions, including co-writes with Kelsey Arsenault and Adam Baxter. In 2022, he produced and performed on Evelyn Jess's Bare Bones and its live follow-up. The band earned Music NL Folk Artist of the Year nominations for 22, 23, and 24. And now in 2025, he'll release singles with Newfoundland trad band Coker's Hat and begin work on Grey J, There Are No Words, an instrumental duet album with Newfoundland's top fiddlers, pickers, and pianists. It's the outstanding Jordan Young. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us and on such short notice.
Thanks, Hulk. Happy to be here.
What do you have for us first?
My fiance there, Kelsey Arsenault, for a friend of the pod.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, my friends.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well, she comes from a big hockey family, and her dad's side of the family is from PEI. So I think the engagement might be called off if I wasn't to do a little bit of stomping Tom here, given the occasion and our illustrious guests. So this is the hockey song. Red roll. Oh, hello out there, we're on the air. It's hockey night tonight. The tension grows and the whistle blows. The puck flies down the ice. The goalie jumps, the players bump, the fans all go insane. Someone roars, Terrace scores. It's the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game. Second period, where the players dash with skates aflash, the home team trails behind. They grab the puck and go bursting up, and they're down across the line. They storm the crease like bumblebees, they travel like a burning flame. We'll see them slide the puck inside, it's a 1-1 hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game, it's the best game you can name. And the best game you can name, it's that good old hockey game. Third period, last game of the playoffs too. Oh, take me where those hockey players face off down the rink. The Stanley Cup, it's all filled up for the champs who win the drink. And the final flick of the hockey stick, and one gigantic scream. Oh, the puck is in, the home team wins that good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game, it's the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is a good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name, it's a good old hockey game.
Amazing.
Thanks, Buzz.
Emily?
It's my first time ever performing that, but
Great.
All right. Jordan, thank you so much. As Hulk mentioned earlier, there's a big benefit show for Allison Corbett. Corbett.
Yep.
Sorry.
CBS's own.
As Hulk mentioned earlier, there's a big benefit show for Allison Corbett at the Ship this Friday, the 7th at 9 p.m. You'll be one of the performers on the amazing lineup. What can you tell us about your friend Allison?
Well, so Allison is a musician from right here in Newfoundland, CBS. Really grew up around the downtown scene. She's classically trained fiddle player, but guitarist, pianist, songwriter. I met her. She was playing in a punk band called Greta Garbo, which is pretty rad for fiddle player. And so, I mean, she was just such a key player in the music scene here in St. John's. We've got about 10 performers on the bill for Friday, and Allison has recorded and played in groups or, just shared the stage with all those good folks. Katie Baggs, Natasha Blackwood, Matt Hender from the Runners there with Dicky, Aaron Wagner, John Ennis, Ian Foster, lots more friends. And Allison is just an incredible person, mother to a fantastic young teen there, Saturn, who's a musician and just loves jokes, and Allison is a teacher as well as a performing musician, and we just want to give her as much help as we can to fight the terrible disease she's faced with, and just get her back healthy and playing and touring the world. Like, Allison's not just a local musician; she's involved in the folk scene in California and has toured internationally with Canada's the Mahones and the Burning Hell Band. So, I mean, she's amazing.
Awesome. Well, now, Jordan, we understand that in honor of your dear friend Allison, you're going to perform one of her songs for us. Is that right?
I would, yeah, I would love to. I like to play Something to Gain. I just learned it the week. It's actually Allison's most recent single, and I started playing the mandolin with Allison like 20 years ago. I've got a show poster from a gig we did like literally almost 20 years ago down at the Spur. If anyone remembers that hole.
I do remember the Spur.
A lot of great people came out of there. But yeah, I was really new to the instrument at the time, but Allison invited me to jam with her, and I'm still playing it now, and I think I've improved some in 20 years. Something to Gain by Ali Corbett. You can't take it from me if I'm giving it away. Biding my time until I have something to gain. I can't separate it from the ordinary pain. Biding my time until I have something to gain. You think there's a secret, but there's no key. You walk on in, pretend you're me. It's such an improvement on who you were. I just can't see you keeping it up forever. Oh, you can't take it from me if I'm giving it away. Biding my time until I have something to gain. Oh, can't separate it from the ordinary pain. Biding my time till I have something to gain. Now go ahead, avert your eyes, and I'll try to act surprised. Oh, when the tides do finally turn and drown the lessons that we have learned. Oh, you can't take it from me if I'm giving it away. Biding my time until I have something to gain. Can't separate it from the ordinary pain. Biding my time until I have something to gain.
Awesome. Amazing.
That was beautiful.
So good.
Well, thanks, Buzz.
Thanks so much. That was really beautiful, man. That was a beautiful tribute to
Allison.
our friend Allison.
Yes, great player. What a writer.
Yeah, that's great. So we look forward to having you again sometime. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you give us a quick, another quick rundown of what's going on at Friday's event?
Sure. So starting up Friday, February the 7th, this Friday, 9 at the Ship. It's going to be kind of a cozy open mic style thing. Like I said, there's 10 performers, all great folks, Katie Baggs, Natasha Blackwood, Ian Foster, Aaron Wagner, and many more. It's going to be kind
great
of a
lineup.
cozy, open mic style thing. Everybody get up a few songs, maybe share some memories and good vibes with Allison and her family.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's now time to play everyone's favorite game of questions, Caesar's Casual Conversations with tonight's guest, Terry Ryan. All the remaining questions are in the commemorative ET, the extraterrestrial hat.
Beautiful.
Yeah, choose one and answer it as much as you'd like. Here we go.
All right, Terry, you go first.
Where does the ET hat come from is my question.
I got it from Pop Caps on Instagram. He was selling those hats a couple years ago. His Pop had some huge collection of hats, and he was selling them on Instagram. And that's an original hat from when ET came out in theater here in town.
It's my favorite movie for a long time and my favorite ride at Universal.
Oh, nice.
It was the first movie my parents ever took me to. Actually.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have the same kind of memory. What's my biggest pet peeve?
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good one.
I don't want to. I'm not. Okay, if I said human ignorance, because everybody's
That's a good
ignorant.
one.
That's a good one, yeah.
But I mean, like, you're standing behind somebody and they're ordering lotto tickets while you're. You know what I mean?
That's mine. Absolutely.
That sort of
They're getting
thing.
break opens.
We're talking. We were just talking about in the break, airports and fly. How about that? When you're like, I'm like, okay, I travel a lot. I know I'm not trying to be uppity. I don't.
I hate traveling.
I travel a lot, so because of that, I'm in zone 2. Right, which means there's zone 1 is for the first class, whatever.
Zone 2 is for legends.
And then zone 2 is like,
Exactly.
well, you just get on the plane early. Yeah. You get on the plane early, you get to put your bag there. If you're last, your bag's not getting on these days, right?
Yeah.
So there's, and you just like to get on. I like to get on there, get the inside seat, get on while it's boarding, like go to sleep with it. It's not comfortable.
Take a nap.
I'm in the economy class, whatever you call it. I'm not trying to sound elitist, but I mean, my problem is that when say you're in that position, for example, and there's people, and you're like, man, why is the gate so crowded?
I know.
Well, it's because people are in like zone 5 and they're just waiting for their and I'm like, okay, that's going to happen in 45 minutes, right? Oh, hey, what's going on, Terry? Not much. What zone are you in? 4. Okay, so you're in my way. Like, get out of the way.
Exactly.
I find it, and that's just the two of those things.
Do you find Newfoundlanders are worse at the airport than anywhere else?
They can be.
Yeah.
Hot take.
Yeah.
They,
I'm glad you validated that for me because I feel like we are.
worse because it might be like an inherently good thing. Like maybe worse because we're so used to no one really giving a shit, or you're just like, yeah, you treat everybody like your buddies or someone you'd see down the road, and I love that about Newfoundland. I mean, we still have mummers here and stuff. You know what I mean? We still do those kind of things that are social events and everything. When we're at the airport, it doesn't equate these days. You just need to go snappy. Let's do it. Let's go. And again, that isn't. But please, let's not turn this into my pet peeve. Is Newfoundlanders at the airport?
You heard it first. Terry Ryan's pet peeve: Newfoundlanders at the airport.
Yeah. I just left my coffee on next to a foot over there. That's kind of ignorant, right? So there's all kinds of levels of ignorance. But, like the lotto thing, the people, like you must have been through this before. Like, let's go here. Or same thing getting off a plane. Same thing getting off. Okay,
I got to stand up and get my bags right first. I want to be first to get my bag.
Week I'm traveling. So I'm at the back, say I'm in, again, wherever they sign me. So if I'm in like seat 27 okay, now, she always comes on at the end, or it could be he, obviously. I don't want to get into that trap.
You heard it here first.
The stewardess, the flight attendant who happened to be a girl, is right behind me, and I say to her, I'm like, okay, I've got like 20 minutes because we took off late. No problem, I'll make an announcement. And, she'll say, well, there's 8 people on there that have to get off for the early, so can we just clear out? It never happens, man. No. It never happens. And then there's people even in a regular day, and they're coming up. I'm like, ma'am, can I, like, where are you from? Oh, I'm in row 33. Okay, I'm in 27. So you're quite a bit behind me.
But the boys are dying for smoke, though.
Before me?
I know.
Why should you get off before me? Why should I? It just bothers, and you see it whenever everybody needs something. It's just grab, guy, and whatever. And that's not Newfoundland. That's kind of anywhere.
That's everywhere.
And it's wherever it's on display, and it's just easiest at the airport, right? It's easiest on a plane because like it's a forced social situation. Most of them are great. Love it. I don't want this to turn into something evil or anything.
See, that's why we stopped doing rapid fire questions and changed them to Caesar's casual conversation. See, it makes sense.
Better.
Were you going to say you had your hand raised?
My biggest thing, like, why would you want to stand up on a plane when you can't move? It's the most uncomfortable. Everybody's just like hunchback to Notre Dame, just waiting to get out into the aisle.
Doesn't make sense. They can only
sit
everyone's
down.
getting off the same time pretty much.
How's everybody supposed to know how tall I am if I don't stand up on the plane?
It's true.
Or you're driving down, say Waterford Bridge Road, right? And someone's going 25. Did you have to pull out in front of me?
I know.
get it. I get it. You want to drive at this crazy slow rate. I don't know why you're not walking, but let's just say, well, why did you have to pull out last minute in front of me?
Always.
And why can't we be on top of the road where I can just go around
before we get into the Terry Ryan pet peeve show here, let's
Do you know
tell you.
let's get
Do you
to
know
it.
what I
Who else
hate?
should I on? What's the next question? What do you hate about life? What is the next question? What gives you reason to be cynical, Terry? Okay.
All right,
People,
Jordan.
humans.
Well, you know what grinds my
It's his turn.
He's gonna get a real softball question.
What's your favorite thing about kittens?
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite season?
See?
There you go.
Complicated, but I'm gonna have to give it to summer in Newfoundland just because it's not pleasant swimming in the rivers and ponds right now.
You're a big swimmer. You swim all the time out in those things, right?
Oh yeah. I made the Newfoundland swim map.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's where
it's a
spots are swimming?
Yeah,
or-
it's a big kind of open source Google map thing. It's got over 500 places now. People have put on it with like
Oh, nice.
good swimming holes and stuff all around the island and up in
You
Labrador.
created that?
Yep, that's me.
Are you a billionaire now?
Holy. What else have you done? That's a big thing.
I wish we had that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Good
That's
Lord,
so
that's
cool.
a huge thing. You kind of should be here on front stage, and I should be chipping in the odd story. That's the story of the
Another
day.
legend.
Tell us all about that. And by the way, we want to know why you hate the other 3 seasons.
Exactly. You heard it here first.
Why? What's wrong with spring, man?
Spring in Newfoundland, no flowers. It's bullshit. It's quasi season.
Okay.
I mean, we've all been other parts of the world in Canada.
Yeah.
When spring happens, there's flowers and you can go outside and have activities, and it's not just drizzle and mud. Fall's good. No notes. So just if I had to pick one, it'd be summer for swimming. And winter, I like not in St. John's because it's slush season. But I mean, if you go out on the best coast, great for
Corner
skiing, snowshoeing, snowmobiling. That's a lot of fun. I love winter too. But I'm not one of these cut a hole in the ice and jump in maniacs. That's not my cult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Dickie.
Oh yeah.
Dun, dun,
What do we got here? What is your favorite guilty pleasure show? That would. I mean, I don't like to say I have guilty pleasures because I don't feel guilty about the things I like. That's.
I'll start laying it on you more.
I watched this show called Blue Bloods. It's a network procedural. Tom Selleck stars in it with Donnie Wahlberg.
Nice.
And I've watched all 14 seasons about 3 times. And I don't watch network TV. I don't watch procedural cop shows, but I love that show, man. Tom Selleck is the best.
Excellent.
I'll have to give that a try.
It's it's really
I know the
well
show.
written. The acting is great. Like it's just it's a cool show. It's all about this. Anyway, it's stupid.
Interesting.
Excellent. Well, we'll endorse it, I guess. Yeah. unless he's been Me Too'd since the show first aired, and we don't endorse it.
We'll get back to you.
There we go, Emily.
Oh, this one's easy. Sushi or tacos? Tacos.
All around the room.
I had a taco bowl for breakfast.
Nice.
Wow. I'm jealous.
Oh God, fish tacos every week. Other than that, take it or leave it. And I love sushi. It's a hard.
It's a hard one.
I'm right on the fence.
I'm on the fence too. I couldn't pick between.
There's so many different kinds of tacos.
Yeah,
though.
and so many different kinds of
you can have a
sushi.
sushi taco.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't eat
Problem solved.
sushi.
I've had a sushi burrito. They do sushi burritos places. Yeah.
I was at a house in Abbotsford, British Columbia once when I was like, 18 or 19 years old. I'd never even heard of sushi. And I was at a party and someone was like, this is sushi. And I was like, oh, cool. I put my mouth, I was like, Well, his sister's like, that's raw fish. I was like, what the hell's going on here? Am I being punked?
Party sushi is
Party sushi's different.
Yeah.
Probably keep her safe on it.
Stay away from the party sushi.
You don't really know what you're getting there. Could be great, but could
It's like
be.
getting sushi at Golden Phoenix.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've eaten
Not
a
the
lot of
same.
hot dogs from 7-Eleven in my life. So
Yeah. Okay. Same level. You know what we're talking
what
about.
do you got here? What's the most spontaneous thing that you've ever done? I'm not a very spontaneous person at all. So I'm going to draw another one. I don't like that question. It's in the rules. You can draw another question.
Well, I like these.
I didn't know
like
that.
So you can get another question first of all, and one of the options was tacos or sushi, and my answer just got me in trouble with major groups across Newfoundland and Canada.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
You should have read the small print.
Yeah, it's the fine print.
Don't worry. I got a
Jesus, I gave you like a 10-minute answer too. These are one step more than yes or no or true or false.
All right, don't worry. I got a really tough one that came through to me after that one. So give me a second to think about it. All right. Chocolate or vanilla?
Oh my god.
Well, I do like both flavors. I guess I'll go with vanilla because of its extract can be used in so many different ways.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
All right.
Two
Well,
vanilla question.
pretty vanilla questions, right?
My next one, what do you
Vanilla
think of the
question.
Gaza Strip? Oh,
Well, that's about all the time we've got. All right. Well, that is actually all the time we've got. Terry Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
it was a great time. Thank you.
Big thanks to Jordan for joining us as well. Thanks, Jordan.
Thank
We got some stuff here for you guys. We got a copy of our show zine for you. We got this here. We'll get you to both sign after. We'll put on the wall with the other ones.
Nice.
And I believe you might have volume 1 at your house already, so I'll give you volume 2 because I think Kelsey got volume 1 when she's here.
Oh, yes,
and there's
she
volume
would,
1 for
yeah.
you. It's scenes from my 1996 high school agenda, which I still have. Yours covers the O.J. Simpson trial, when I failed my driver's license
Wow.
test. Lots of everything in there.
Dennis
So-
Rodman was
Great.
traded to the
This
Bulls.
is awesome.
Real trip down memory lane there for you. Well, as I said earlier, Emily and Dicky got to chat with Stephen Page and Chris Murphy of the Trans-Canada Highwaymen about their upcoming Newfoundland and Labrador tour, and you can check that out right now after the show, or you can check it out on YouTube or Facebook later, and we'll be right back here next week. Until then, for Terry, Jordan, Emily, Dicky, I'm the Hulkster, and thanks for watching The Hulk Caesar Show.
So we're here with Stephen Page and Chris Murphy from the Trans-Canada Highwaymen. We're about to kick off a Newfoundland and Labrador tour. Thanks for joining us, guys. So you're about to hit the road for the Newfoundland and Labrador tour, which stops across the island: Stephenville, Corner Brook, Labrador West, Grand Falls, Windsor, Gander, St. John's. I know you've both been here. I know Chris has been here a lot. Stephen, I know you've been here a couple of times, I think, possibly.
A bunch of times.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about coming back to Newfoundland, coming back to the Rock?
I'm pretty excited. I've never been to Labrador before.
Oh, nice.
So that's like, there's a first time for everything.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
It's definitely colder, much colder.
Be prepared. And it's February, so.
What?
Bring a good jacket with you, for sure.
I've never been there either.
Oh, okay. Cool. So you've both never been to Labrador.
It'll be a fun
And
experience.
I've never done like an extensive tour of Newfoundland. I've been to a bunch of different places, but I've never done something this comprehensive.
Nice. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And you guys like it here, I assume.
Love it.
That's great.
Yeah, and I had just a quick anecdote. One time, it's almost like Andrew was sick one time. This is for Sloan. Andrew was sick one time. There was an Air Canada strike one time, and we almost canceled a third time. And we were advised, if you cancel again, you can never come back. So the next time we played, we had just played in Tokyo, Japan, where we got treated like the Beatles. Then we played in St. John's, and I kind of got into a fight with the promoter because we were playing at the school and at Memorial or whatever, and I wanted it to be all ages, and it wasn't. And then there was a compromise where the all ages could be on a balcony, and I was in such a bad mood about it. And somebody kept yelling out for a song of ours called Underwhelmed. He was calling it out all night. And I was like, yeah, we're going to play it, whatever. And then he got closer and closer to the stage, and then was like, giving me the finger and telling me. And I was like, turn the lights up. I got to kick this guy out.
Oh, God.
Oh, shit.
And then as he was getting out, he's like giving me the finger, like right in my face. And then This is embarrassing. This is a long time ago. I spit in his hair, and then there was a riot.
Oh,
There was a riot. We got and you know how they serve beer in red cups or whatever?
Yeah.
Well, that's because if you serve beer in cans, they are a dangerous projectile. So this was not a red show. Anyway, we just got throwing stars of beer cans and full beer cans. Really got killed. They hated. They were so mad. It was an embarrassing thing to have done, and I probably shouldn't be talking about beer and painting the reputation of Stephen Page. But anyway, so I was scared to go back to Newfoundland after that. But it has become. It's just obviously you guys know it is the coolest place. I love going there, and I can't wait to come. Sorry for this story.
No,
we
that's
love it.
great. When how long ago? I mean, I've been to every one of your shows since probably the year 2000.
1998.
Oh,
You were
okay.
Probably like 8 years old.
Yeah. I just missed that.
We played that big room at Munn, like whatever, 1991 or 91, I think.
Nice.
The Thompson Student Center.
And we were there with Caitlin, Wheels, and Snake from Degrassi. They were on the same flight as us.
What?
And the same flight was like the flight from Sydney or whatever, and they came to the show. So we're hanging out with the cast of Degrassi.
That's
That
so
is
cool.
awesome.
That's awesome. I'm
Okay,
jealous.
well, I know nobody's asked me this, but
Are you guys trying to top each other now?
We played there, we played there one time on a bill that I thought was just so hilarious. It was April Wine, Air Supply, Sloan, Amanda Marshall. Would you pay to see that?
So all blues greats.
Oh, that would have been. I was at that show. That would have been in Bay Roberts, I think. You probably don't remember that, but
Yes, exactly.
I was there.
No, it was. And the airport, it was something was happening, construction or something. There was like plywood all over the floor, mud all over the floor, and Amanda Marshall was like in head to toe white outfit with like a white fedora on the flight. Anyway.
that's great.
With all of you coming from such iconic bands, how do you decide what songs make it into your shows?
We all come from bands, except for Mo, we all come from bands where there'd be multiple writers. So we just bring the songs from those bands that we wrote. And so we kind of, when we started, we kind of made an all-star set of 16 songs, kind of 4 songs each. But more recently, we made kind of K-Tel-inspired records of early 70s Canadiana kind of thing.
Nice.
So everybody kind of swapped out one of their original songs on our 90s mixtape and brought, and now we're each playing a song or two from our early 70s, our Trans-Canada Highwaymen Explosive Hits Volume 1.
Nice.
And we're all playing.
That's great.
And so we're injecting that into an already jam-packed set.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
What's your favorite song to perform that one of the other guys wrote? This question's for both of you.
Oh, I mean, I have fun playing drums on either of Chris's songs that I play on. Rest of My Life is pretty fun to play.
Cool.
That is great.
Yeah, that's
I mean, and
Yeah.
I'm an Adult Now came out in 1986, and so Stephen and I are a couple of years younger than Mo. I mean, whatever, Stephen's younger than, doesn't matter who's younger. But, that came out, I was still in grade 12, so we get to play, I don't mean to speak for Stephen, but like I get to play, I think he likes it too. He barely knows it. But we get to play this song that was on TV when we were in grade 12. So it's, I get to be in the band, but I get to also fan out and it's also fun. We all come from different places, and when you're a fan of all these different groups, and then they're all on stage together in these different parts of your mind. So it's like the Jetsons on the Flintstones or whatever.
Love it.
Does that help?
Yeah, that's great. That's a great song too. It's got a real like Megadeth vibe. I remember hearing that when I was younger.
How did the idea
I'm an
for
adult now. You know what? There is a Megadeth kind of. Are you talking about I'm an Adult Now?
Yeah.
I think there is a Megadeth story there. Are you making that up or that's real?
I mean, I just listen. I'm a Megadeth
No.
fan. I just always got that kind of vibe from that particular song. I remember hearing it and be like, this kind of sounds like a Megadeth thing.
Stevens are more like Venom, Slayer, but like
That's right. So yeah,
more
Megadeth
like-
is kind of out of my wheelhouse.
Right.
But for me with playing I'm an Adult Now, I just feel like that song opened the doors for all of the rest of us,
Right.
like who wrote kind of quirky, thoughtful songs with a sense of humor. That like there wasn't really a place for that on the radio or on TV, especially in Canadian music, who have always been so terrified of mixing humor and rock until that song came around, and they gave the rest of our bands an opportunity to be goofballs.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, absolutely.
How did the idea for the Trans-Canada Highwaymen come about?
Okay, so we have a friend named Jim Milan, who is a theater director, producer, worked with Kids in the Hall and stuff like that. And he had an idea for a show that was kind of like guys from the 90s reminiscing about the 90s. And it was one of these ones where he wanted us to kind of like sit on stools across the front of the stage and have projection and cut to video and stuff like that. And we were kind of like, well, we'd like to hang out with each other. I don't know if we want to sit on stools across the front of the stage. So we thought, what if we're the band and we just trade off instruments? And that was a really fun idea. That made things totally different for us.
Which Chris, I'm sure, is used to, being in Sloan and trading instruments around in that band as well.
We invented trading instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as Stephen says, I was looking for some way to sort of emulate the sort of Jetsons, Flintstones.
Battle of the Network Stars.
That's awesome.
Laugh Olympics, if you will.
Yeah. So your recent album, Explosive Hits Volume 1, takes listeners back to some pretty great Canadian songs. Can you share what inspired you to create that collection? And the album's named Volume 1. Does that mean is there going to be a Volume 2 probably later on?
Exactly. We wanted to, we thought it would be fun to have different songs. We wanted to just play hits. You know, we could make a record together, and that's not impossible, but we thought, like, we want to go out and play the 90s mixtape or whatever. Like, it's Brian Wilson, and then I'm an adult now, and then someone who's cool. And we thought it would be fun to kind of honor, you know, the Canadian songbook, that song we loved as kids, and to complicate what the show is. It's a 90s, but yet 70s. Anyway, but it was a fun thing for us to do. And you know, there's also part of it where in order to exist on Spotify or streaming, you know, it was handy to have a record, and it was just really easy to do. We did it kind of during COVID, you know, sent each other files and had a fun time doing it. And then we made kind of fun, kind of KTEL inspired visuals for it. I don't know if you guys are old enough to know what KTEL is. It's just kind of like compilations that came out in the 70s and 80s of whatever, just fun compilations where they would, like, you know, smash like 20 songs onto a record, and they would sound terrible because, anyway.
Right.
Like they would.
Yeah. So Newfoundland's known for its hospitality, and touring here often comes with some memorable experiences. What's one thing you're hoping to do or see while you're here this time around? Are you guys going to be here for a couple of days, or are you just doing the one night and leaving? What's the plan there?
I don't think we have a day off in St. John's, do we?
I don't.
I'm looking at this.
Looking at the schedule.
Or across the island. Is there anything you're hoping to see?
No, we're in Canada the night before, and then we leave the next morning. So I think we're going to go to the gig.
Yep.
And do the gig, and that's about it, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. What about the rest of the island? Is there any space there for you to see something around there?
I'm hoping to see, I don't know, what do you want to see, Chris? A moose?
Well, neither of us have ever been to Labrador.
Yeah.
So that'll be a scream.
You'll
you know,
see
obviously
moose
we're
there for
touring in February, which is kind of insane. But my joke is that it takes a mixture of guts and poor planning. But anyway,
when we go to Labrador, perhaps we can see a labradoodle.
I don't know if they're bred there, but
they're everywhere here.
They are everywhere here. Everyone has a labradoodle now, or a golden doodle.
Or
a golden doodle was really popular too.
Yeah. For fans who haven't seen you live yet, what can they expect from a Trans-Canada Highwaymen show?
I don't know if this is for me to say, but everyone I've talked to who has seen the show or not everyone, but like I often have people say, that's the best show I've ever seen in my life. Now,
Wow.
maybe these people
Nice.
don't get out much or whatever, but it's so fun. Like it's all the songs. So as I say, like coming from different parts of your brain, it's like, oh, I like that song, and now they're together on the same. But you're also seeing 4 people that are still having a ball doing it and getting a kick out of each other. You know, maybe that's not for everybody, but you know, people who like the idea of fun, and Newfoundland's pretty fun. I think they're gonna have a ball.
I think
Love
everyone's
it.
really excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Before we get to our little last question here, I'd like to point out, just for personally here, I named my daughter after your band, Chris. I named her Sloan because it was
Oh wow!
the first show. My ex, well, we're separated now, so it worked out really great. But the first show we went to see together was a Sloan show in Lewisport, I think, and so we named our daughter Sloan after you guys.
Amazing. I was hoping you were talking to me when you said that.
No, we tried to name her Stephen Page, but and Bare Naked Lady, but really it wasn't having that one.
That was my joke.
Oh, sorry, man. I stepped on it. My bad.
I'm thrilled. But do you spell it with an E or not an E?
The compromise, because it was me that really wanted to do
I
it.
don't want to know about it.
Doesn't count.
I didn't want to put the E there, but it was the compromise.
Neither did I.
And finally, any last message you'd like to share with your Newfoundland fans before the tour kicks off?
Well, I mean, I love playing in Newfoundland, so it's been a long time. The last time I came to Newfoundland to play was early in my solo career, and I was doing a show. Well, I can't remember the name of the club. It was a club that was too big for me to be playing at, and nobody was there. And I went outside for a smoke before I went on stage, and I could see across George Street. There's a band, like a cover band playing in another bar, absolutely packed. The bar is it's totally packed. And the band is playing Brian Wilson, and the whole bar is singing. And I'm standing outside smoking with 50 people inside of whatever was called Club 1 or something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I want to go, God, hey, it's all over here. No, here. I'm the guy. But nobody came.
Oh, my
so
God.
I'm going to remedy that this time by jumping on
And all those.
coattails.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so cool.
That's so bizarre.
My quick Newfoundland story is that I talked to a guy who was a promoter there on George Street or whatever one time, and he said he wanted to book AC/DC, and it was going to cost $1 million, and he was going to do it, but apparently the premier told him it was apparently illegal to have AC/DC come to Newfoundland because it would shut the province down. No one would go to work.
I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I just
possible.
hope that doesn't happen when we get there.
That's awesome. Do you have any favorite, Chris? Do you have any, or either of you, do you have any favorite Newfoundland acts?
I was buddies with the Novaks.
Nice.
I'm old enough to know the Thomas Trio guys.
Yeah.
I know those guys, and I know some of them in the present, but I lost touch with some of them. Hardship Post is a band that was from St. John's, and they moved to Halifax, and we became pretty close with those guys, and our little record label put out their record and stuff like that. And I have more to say about that I can't disclose right now, but if you come to the show, I'll tell you all about it.
Oh, definitely.
there you
Yeah.
go.
Yep. Steve, what about you? Anybody?
Well, I'm pals with Kelly Loader, so I'm hoping they're in town to come to the show.
Excellent.
Nice.
Kelly's great.
Yeah, we were talking about Thomas Trio. I think the first Thomas Trio show in Toronto was opening for us at Sneaky D's.
Oh, no
and they
way.
showed up in their tour bus, and we showed up in our mom's cars.
I'm amazed that you guys remember the names of all these venues.
I know.
That's crazy.
It's like song lyrics, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
We
gotta
played Canada Day 1992 with it was a show. It was kind of like a promotional tour that Spinal Tap were doing, where they played 3 shows in Canada in one day. They toured Canada in one day. They played in Kitty Vitty or whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
I didn't meet them or hang out with them, but I love to say that I shared the stage with Spinal Tap
So cool.
and the
That's
Rolling
amazing.
Stones and whoever else later. It doesn't matter.
That is incredible.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, guys, for chatting with us. It's been a pleasure.
Come down and see the show.
Yeah, we would love
Bring
to.
Sloan.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thanks so much.
Sloan and Hardship Post.
Sloan and Trans-Canada Highwaymen.
It's long for a driver's license.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. It was really great talking to you. I hope you have a wonderful
thank
time
you.
here.
Hi, guys.
Have a
Good
great
luck on
tour.
your tour,
Good luck on the
guys.
tour.